All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The Indian Prime Minister will be shortly meeting the Indian Diaspora. He'll be addressing the members of the Indian Diaspora in Paris. The stage has been set for the big mega event. Remember, this has been a regular feature of the Indian Prime Minister. No matter where he travels, he goes and speaks and addresses the members of the Indian Diaspora, and he's loved and welcomed in a way unlike pretty much any other world leader that you can think of. Different world leaders travel to different countries as part of their bilateral engagements, but crowds such as this, cheering, rapturous crowds, do not turn up. But no matter where the Indian Prime Minister travels, no matter which city it is, which country it is, there are teeming crowds of rapturous, cheering members of the Indian Diaspora who always turn up to meet and greet the Indian Prime Minister, unlike any other leader at this moment that you can think of. The Indian Prime Minister will, of course, be addressing members of the Indian Diaspora in some time from now. He'll, of course, have a lot to say about the India-France equation. Remember, this moment, according to the figures that have been put out, about 0.1% of the French population is said to be of the Indian origin, and Modi is received warmly by members of the diaspora wherever he goes from, be it Australia, the United States. His gatherings are thronged by teeming crowds, like what you're looking at on your screens at the moment. A similar sentiment is being witnessed in France as well, where the Indian Prime Minister is the guest of honor for the 14th of July Bastille Day parade. This is his fourth visit to France since his counterpart Emmanuel Macron came to power. And WION's Siddhant Sibal has been tracking this story very closely for us. He's joining us live from Paris at this moment. Siddhant, this is a big moment. In some time from now, in a short while from now, we expect to hear from the Indian Prime Minister as he'll be addressing the members of the Indian Diaspora. You know, give us a sense of how the people in France, members of the Indian Diaspora in France, are looking at to listen from the Indian Prime Minister.
Well, Mohammed, right now I'm standing at the heart of action. I'm standing in the very hall where the Indian diaspora is present in full force, and shortly the Indian Prime Minister will be coming and addressing them. And this has been a permanent fixture of Prime Minister's foreign visits abroad. But before I can speak further, let the people here, let the members of the diaspora speak for themselves. With me is Manik, who is a student here in France. He is from Delhi and made France his home. Manik, tell me about your feelings over the address by the Indian Prime Minister, which is going to start shortly.
Yeah, it's like since day we are waiting for him, and the time I met him, it was such a wonderful feeling to meet the Prime Minister of India, and his aura is so positive. He's such an amazing person, and he greeted each and every single person who were waiting for him since morning in the line, and he met everyone. Gave his, his time to each and every single person, and it was so great to.
And you're a student here. How do you see your life here? Would you like to make sure that the relationship is strengthened between the two countries because of people like you?
Yeah, comparatively, like in the last 5 years, I can observe that the relation with India is so strong. As we see the people here, and even though I have seen the French people, they are too much into the Indian culture. They don't rely on Indian language, the Indian culture, the Indian dresses, the food, and they like all those things. And it's increasing day by day.
It's increasing day by day. I'm joined by Ronald as well, who is a member of the Indian diaspora. Your message to many people who must be watching you and perhaps having that jealous moment as well because you're present here.
Yeah,
so kindly
I don't think they will be jealous so much, but
veuillez vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. Prepare
the Prime Minister gives chance to everybody to meet him anywhere in the world. But definitely, when I got to know about that prodigy is visiting Paris, so I live in the south of France, and I'm pursuing a PhD. I think it was a great chance to actually come here, see him in person, once in a lifetime opportunity. And what was the question again?
The question, of course, is how the relationship is going forward. If you can talk about that as well.
India and France?
Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to it as for the Prime Minister's visit that it's going to be very much great ahead. India and France has a very long history. It has been hundreds of years of exchange between these two countries. It's also the 25th year of the exchanges, the strategic partnership happening between India and France together. And with Prime Minister Modi's visit, we are, as an Indian diaspora and also in India, our family and people I know, look forward to it, that something great comes out of it. Same in defense and also in education and technology and scientific field.
You're from which part of India?
I'm from Delhi, New Delhi.
Two people from Delhi I met here in Paris who are right now waiting for the Indian Prime Minister, and we can hear the sloganeering as well as the diaspora waits with bated breath to listen to the Indian Prime Minister in this very hall. And the Prime Minister has been to France several times in 2015, and just last year the Prime Minister was in France. And during this visit, of course, the focus remains as to how the relationship is further strengthened with key deliverables. Already we have seen an announcement coming from Delhi in terms of the defense deals which are slated to happen in space. 3 pacts will be signed, and of course the Indian Prime Minister will be the guest of honor at the Bastille Day parade. This is something that looks like the highest honor being bestowed by the Macron government on the Indian government, on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and of course the people of India.
Absolutely indeed, Siddhant. And also considering the fact that the Indian Prime Minister is going to be the guest of honor, the Bastille Day parade celebrations will be held tomorrow. That of course is a big honor. And tell us a bit about, this new type of diplomacy that the Indian Prime Minister has brought to the bilateral engagements that he engages with. Because it's not just a connect that he gets into where it's all about the many deals, but it's also the personal connect that he has managed to establish with so many of these world leaders. We saw it when he met with Joe Biden. We saw it when he met with Anthony Albanese, who in fact went on to call Modi the boss. And the Indian Prime Minister also enjoys a special relationship with Emmanuel Macron as well. This is diplomacy with a personal touch, which the Indian Prime Minister has brought. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, Mohammed, I right now could not hear you because the sloganeering has increased, because the Prime Minister is all set to arrive. And if I can ask Mani, just shift here, and if I can show you the number of people present in this hall, they of course are waiting for the Prime Minister to come.
Please be seated.
The delegation is set to arrive here of the Indian Prime Minister. We know that he is accompanied by a very large delegation, and later today we will see a private dinner being hosted by the Macron, by President Macron, by the Macron government to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Tomorrow again is a packed day as well.
Absolutely indeed, Siddhant. It is very noisy where you are. We'll of course come back to you. Do stay on with us. But at this moment is the big story where we expect to hear from the Indian Prime Minister in just a bit from now. The Indian Prime Minister is on a 2-day visit to France, and he is the guest of honor at the crucial and all-important Bastille Day parade celebrations that will take place tomorrow. And this is something that the Prime Minister is attending on the invite of Emmanuel Macron, the French President. The Indian Prime Minister, after addressing the members of the Indian diaspora, will also be hosted at the Champs-Élysées for a dinner by Emmanuel Macron. These are visuals from a little while from before, where the Indian Prime Minister, in fact, was received and he met with the French Prime Minister, his French counterpart, and he's held talks with her as well. Remember, this is diplomacy that strengthens the India-France equation further. At the heart of it, it is defense cooperation, it is defense hardware, which India is purchasing in such a big way from France, which of course is such an important aspect of this relationship. But apart from that, there are whole other aspects of France-India equation. And let's listen in to what my colleague Siddhant Sibil has to say from the venue, where the Indian Prime Minister is of course expected to address the crowd in just a bit from now.
Well, Mohammed, the Indian Prime Minister is due to arrive shortly, and the feeling here is electrifying. The entire auditorium right now is buzzing with one single word, that is Modi. You can see all the Indians now raising the flag and of course the mobiles as well to capture that moment, the Indian Prime Minister's arrival in this hall. We have seen similar sentiment across the world when the Prime Minister arrives here in this hall. It's no different as well. Is here almost in you can see the Prime Minister has just arrived in the hall in the very stadium. Prime Minister, of course, right now waving as well, and people, of course, enthusiastically reciprocating as well. But of course, the buzz is very strong. In fact, I cannot find a word to describe the feeling here in this hall.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.